Okay, so welcome back. And this session we are going to talk about. We'll go ahead in the Java parts, understand some more part about the development, and meanwhile, I am also hosting a Google Meet link so that you can add up your comments there. I'm just sharing that link as well because Teams is not able to handle this much amount of crowd until I take a paid version of it, and I'm not planning to do that. Okay, so welcome back, and this session we are going to talk about. Okay, so let's start, everyone. I hope you all have got the links and available here. Next, my screen is visible properly, and now let us start with our implementation. So last time we started with a Java application. I have shown you how to start with Visual Studio Code, and let me just quickly open that application. So how we did that is we opened this particular part with VS Code, and this is how my VS Code was looking like. In the last, we did a very simple example. That was what we have completed, and now we are going to explore our application much more. So for that, I will do what? I will open my pen notes. So I'll do my scribbling part here, whatever I want to do, and we can keep on. Okay. Still a lot of people are joining. You can use the Google Meet link which I have sent for creating, like, talking about any thing you want, any questions you have, you can just add it up there, and the rest is fine. So let's see. Okay, so let's begin now. And the first topic which we are going to cover up here is what we call as Java naming rules and conventions. Yeah, we are going to cover up is Java naming rules and convention. And okay, so whenever you start writing on a Java based application, what does this say? That there are certain rules and regulations which you need to follow along when you're writing a see, what are the various components which are available in Java? You can have a class. You have seen that we can have a class name, we can have a class, we can have an object. I'll show talk about object today. Then we can have methods, and then we have variables. Now, when we are talking about these various components, what exactly we need to do is we have got to work with, like, we have to specify the naming convention. So there are two things: there are rules versus there are conventions. See, what will happen is if you are not following the rules, you will start getting the errors in your code. Okay, but if you do not follow the convention, see, this has got people into trouble. And nowadays all the applications, like whatever we make, if you want to deploy it somewhere, so the deployment can be rejected. You need to understand that if you're not following the rules, you will get error, which is good, because if you're getting an error, it is fine. Why? You can simply just go ahead from that point and get your stuff done. But when it comes to the convention, if you're not following, it will be a big problem. So what are the rules available? See, these are rules, and these rules are applicable for all. Yeah, when we talk about the rules, rules are applicable for all. They are applicable for class name, method name, variable name, everything. It is applicable for there. Yeah, so on that part, what we find, we have got it. Your Java class variable object name should always begin with a letter or a currency symbol or an underscore. See, now currency and underscore is something we should not be using. We normally focus on what? Either uppercase A to Z or lowercase A to Z. That is what we focus on. Subsequent characters means any character after that can be what? Letters, digits, dollar signs, or underscore. So they cannot, like, the first character is what they say. See, consider the first character, they say it has to be what? A letter. Uppercase, lowercase, uppercase A to Z, lowercase A to Z, dollar or underscore is also allowed, but we normally stick to this part. Then after that, whatever you have subsequent letters, they can be combination of what? Letters, digits, dollar signs, underscores. So here at this point there is nothing, there is no what you can say, a rule on using only the currency or something like that. They can be any combination from that point onward. Yeah. Then you have is what? Next you have is you cannot use Java reserved keywords. For example, class, int. So Java keywords cannot be there. I will give you the list of just I have forgot to add the Java keyword list. I will add that element here. What are the keywords in Java? Then the names are case sensitive. So that means, for example, you have a name. For example, you are naming a car. So car and car are two different components here. Yeah, this car here and this car here are two different components. Why? Because these are case sensitive and there is no restriction on the length. Then what are the naming conventions? When it comes to the naming convention in Java, there are, see, the naming conventions are broadly divided into two. First is you have got class, and then you have got method and variable. Let us only focus on this much first, and how it is written. Yeah, how is it written? For example, the word you are trying to work upon is, let's say, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now remember, class make use of something called as Pascal casing, and method make use of something called as camel casing. Now see, the correct way to write this should be not like this, but it should be, see, this will be much more easier to understand, that when we say Pascal casing, and here it is camel casing. Yeah, here it is Pascal casing, here it is camel casing. Now when it comes to camel casing and Pascal casing, for example, this word, let me talk in that context. The word 1, 2, 3, and 4, when it is written in Pascal casing, how it is written? See this. When it is written in Pascal casing, the word will go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is no space in between, first step. And every, like, start including the first letter of first word will be in uppercase. So 1 is O is capital, 2 is capital, 3 is capital, 4 is capital. On other hand, when you write the same thing with camel casing, how it goes? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so here you see the words are again 4. See here, this was the first word, second word, third word, fourth word. Here it is again what? 1, 2, 3, 4. But the difference is in Pascal casing, first letter, first word, first letter is in uppercase. In camel casing, first word, first letter is in lowercase. Are you able to understand this? Yeah, this part. So now, if you look at this, if you look at this, what I'll have to do? Okay, just give me 1 minute, please. Okay, so now if you look at this, if there are multiple ways we write the functions. So here you see the names are what camel casing goes like this, where we are going to use camel casing in methods, variables, and so on. And where are we going to write Pascal casing in 1, 2, 3, 4 class name and interfaces name. So here you can think of it like start small, like a camel hump in the middle. And Pascal casing, every word starts with the capital letter. Okay. So here, uh, see, we have got our class 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the instance variable. And I've written everything inside like a function. So if I use this in a class and let me call it as 1, 2, how do you name a Java class? 1, 2, 3, 4 dot Java. Okay. So here you find your class is done in what it is in Pascal case, whereas your variable is in camel case, method is in camel case, and so on. Yeah. So class at this point is in Pascal case. Okay. Now, if I give you a very small task here, I want you to understand about a small task here, and I would like you to go here. Consider following are my class names. Okay, and I'm writing it in normal format. So the class names are, for example, I have got details manager, connection provider, student login, student detail. For example, variable names are tax rate, okay, GST amount, pin code, location. And then I have got method names. They are like get details for ID, uh, get location for truck, set ID for user. Okay. Now, if I give you a simple task, what you need to do is how will this get converted? See, class name will get converted into Pascal casing, variable names will get converted into, and method name will also get converted into camel casing. I want you to, I want you to take this word, any two words from class, variables, and methods, convert that into Pascal and post it into the chat of Google Meet. Can we do that? I want to see how many of you understand this. Copy this, take this in your Google Meet chat. Just whatever you think so should be the solution, just paste it there. Okay, you understood the task, what we have to do? Like take any one, two, or three words from here. Based upon what do you think so, please paste the solution in the Google Meet chat. No one? See, these are the questions we have to convert that into Pascal casing and camel casing. Can you do that? Can I get a thumbs up if you have understood the task? Can I get a quick thumbs up if you have understood the task? Okay, perfect. Yeah. Vishwajit, perfect. Details manager, D will be uppercase, M will be uppercase. How will be for connection provider? How will it be for connection provider? Yeah, method name will be get details for ID. See, G is lowercase, it will remain lowercase. D is uppercase, F is uppercase, I is uppercase. Correct. Yeah, connection provider C uppercase, P uppercase. Yeah, student login is S uppercase, L uppercase. Correct. Then student registration will be S uppercase and R uppercase. Correct. Okay. Anyone else want to give it a try? Student details. This is very important aspect to understand how the code will work ahead. Yeah. Now can we focus on variable rates? Yeah, we need. Perfect. Student login, student address. Can we focus on variable names? How will tax rate, GST amount, pin code location change? Okay. For method, it will set ID for user. Okay. Perfect. Okay. This is good. So far we have understood how it works. Once we get some variables for something for variables, we can then proceed. Okay. Anyone adding for variables? Is anyone adding for variables? Yes, no. Okay, no problem. So let us focus now on the next part, which is okay. So these are the codes which you can actually copy paste and still work upon. I think. See, what I have done is my so many years of notes I have uploaded it on ChatGPT to just get it in a proper formatted way. So this way we can easily work, and I can still use my old reference notes which I have been making so long. Only thing is it adds this extra stuff in my code which I have to then get rid of. Now, okay, yeah. So the idea is you people can actually copy paste this code, use it straight away, and will save our time on that particular instance. Now, moving ahead, we have got something what we call as software objects. Okay, we have got call as software objects. Now, see, you people have worked a lot upon working for different programming languages. You worked upon C, right? You worked with C, C++, correct? You worked on C, you worked on C++. And most of the places, what you did, you wrote your example in a main class. You wrote a main function and you wrote all your code inside main, correct? This is what you have done so far. Is that correct, everyone? Everything what you wanted to add was all available here. Now, what we want to do is when you change, Java is an object-oriented programming language. Java is object-oriented. Now, what do you mean by object-oriented is, before we jump ahead and go into understanding this content, let us have a quick discussion about what do you mean by object orientation, how does it work. Now, object orientation is what? That everything here in Java will be considered as an object or will revolve around object. Or it will revolve around object. Okay. Now, if you want to get into object orientation, the simple first step is like every object, like anything you have should be represented as a software object. Okay? They can be represented as a software object. So what do that software object definition means? See this. It says software object is a conceptual entity in object oriented programming language that represents a real world object with the state and behavior. Now remember one thing, whenever it is about software object, yeah, it's an entity which represents a real world entity which contains state and behavior. Now remember one thing, when it comes to the state and behavior, every object can be considered as a software object. Why? Because you want to represent it inside an object orientation implementation, it will be considered as a software object. Now when it comes to the software object, I said they have two things, state and behavior. What is state? State is, and see, remember one thing, software objects can be tangible or intangible. Tangible means when you can look, see. Intangible are something which you can feel but you cannot see. For example, intangible, I can have, for example, chair, number of students. But intangible, can I say temperature can be my object? Yeah, I can also represent temperature. Now, every software object have two things. First is what we call as state. And second is what we call, or in simple terms, when I want to explain it, it goes like this. First, the software object have two characteristics. Software object have two characteristics. And they are basically divided like what they have and what they do. Okay, what can they have, what can they do? So here, if you look at it, we have got one option of what they have, and the second option is what they do. Okay, now what they have is nothing but is what we call as state of an object. Is what we call as state of an object. Whereas when we have got behavior, we call them as what they do is considered to be behavior of an object. Now state of an object is further divided into two parts. The primitive data they have and object of another classes they have. Whereas behavior is nothing but the methods of the class. Okay, behaviors are nothing but the method of the class. So this session and next session, we are going to majorly focus upon covering these four parts, the state and the behavior, and then they are certainly more divided into further more parts, which is something we are going to look. So far, are we clear? Can I get a thumbs up here, please? Can I get a quick thumbs up anywhere on Google Meet or live? I am, yeah, understanding this because this is important, what we are doing, how we are working upon here. Okay, so perfect. So next is, so behavior is what we do and what they. So now if I go back and if I look at my software object, what do I find? It is a conceptual entity in object orientation programming that represents the real world with state, which is properties and attributes, and behavior that are methods and procedures. Yeah, it acts as a core building block of object orientation, and it is similar to the real world. So now here, as I told you, we have got state, which is represented by properties and attributes. They are the fundamental characteristic of an object, and attributes are derived from properties and contribute to the overall states. On other hand, we have got behavior. It is defined through the methods, and they act upon the object state. So for example, consider a car. Inside a car, yeah, inside a car, see, the properties are what? Color, speed, fuel level. And the attributes are what? The distance which are traveled deriving from state, speed and time. On other hand, behaviors are what? So start, stop is, it's a function, like it is what they do, right? So start, stop, accelerate, apply brakes are the behavior they have. And the containment is what? Car has a brake, because brake is not a car, it's not a part of car, and it is basically brake. A car can contain brake as an object. Similarly, a circle can be an object with what? State of what? Radius, area, circumference, and behavior of what? Calculate area and calculate circumference. Okay, so software object is nothing but a, yeah, software objects is a conceptual entity in object orientation, like, and it is irrespective. Any programming language you work for, they will always be there. Okay, they will always be there. So as I said, what we are going to do next is understand. Yeah, we have understood about class, software object. Now we are going to put that into action. Next is what we have is the concept of class. Class is a template or a blueprint. Yeah, it is which is used to define the structure of a software object. So it outlines what? The properties, the attributes, the procedures, and the constructors. Yeah, so simple example, let us take a car. Class is a template or a blueprint which is used to describe an object. Okay, so basically class actually stands for classification. Class stands for classification. Now how does that works, like how does that looks like? See, try to understand. Like whenever, yeah, whenever we want, is class is basically what? As they have said, class is nothing but a template or a blueprint which is used to describe an object. So it is a place. Class is the place where we describe or define working of a object. So basically an object will do only those things which are described inside this class. My simple question I always ask is, okay, a dolphin cannot fly and an eagle cannot swim. Can you tell me the reason? Like if you try to think about the reason why is that, is because why can a dolphin fly? Because dolphin is a fish. Yeah, it's a sea animal. Yeah, they are not designed to fly, whereas eagle is a bird. It belongs to the class of eagle. They do not have, see, the reason is class, what I'm telling you here is class is the place where we describe the working of an object. So here a dolphin cannot fly, reason being it belongs to, it belongs to what? The class of dolphin. They do not have wings, hence it cannot fly. A eagle cannot swim because it does not have gills, because it is not designed for swimming. So same way, I hope this is getting clear for you, that class is basically a template or a blueprint where we define the working of an object. Consider, so See, how does a class look like? See, what are things a class can have? A class can have variables, a class can have constructor, a class can have methods, and so on. So as I discussed, a class is a template or a blueprint. How do we define? For example, this is my class. Consider a diagrammatic representation. This is where we define a class. Now consider this is my class of car. So what will I do inside my class of car is I will have my variables. So consider I have different variables. Then I have my functions. Like for example, we have got constructors. I'm going to make use of triangle for displaying the constructor. Then I'm going to use the methods using the rectangles. So class is nothing but a template or a blueprint which is used to describe an object. What all things can go inside a class? Yeah. You can have variables inside a class. You can have methods inside the class. You can have constructors inside the class. You can have blocks inside the class. You can have inner class inside the class. So these are various things that a class can hold. Okay. So now as you see here, how do I write the class? Let's write a simple class first. Let's write the class car. Because this class, remember one thing. First, I'll say string color. Then I'll say int price. Okay. Or let's say int speed. Then I can have a method called as public void start method. Okay. And I can say car is started and then public void stop method. Car is stopped. So this is how we write a very simple class. This is how we write a very simple class. Can we try this out quickly? Yeah. Is it possible for you? I'll wait for 5 minutes. Are you interested in trying it out right now? Can I get a thumbs up or something in Google Meet or YouTube Live anywhere? You can simply start your VS Code. Just try it out because you will not understand this until you try it practically, right? I will be back in 1 minute. Okay. Sorry, I did not see. Are you people trying? Any one of you is trying? I can wait for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, so that you can just complete this quickly. Okay, I'll wait for it. Okay, if you want, you can even copy it from here. See, I have the copy option here. You can copy that, paste it, but I want you people to see how does a class and the things they look like. Okay, this is the code we have been doing. Okay, so now the next part is understanding the objects and instances. See, class, as I told you, is a template or a blueprint which is used to describe an object. Now, on other hand, object is nothing but an instance of a class. Yeah, object is nothing but an instance of a class. It is a real entity which is created from the class definition and exists in the memory. Now, see, so there are two things when it comes to a Java application. When you are writing a Java part, there will be two things. There will be an object, there will be an instance. Instances in Java are operational, objects are not. Yeah. So here, as we said, see, let us try to understand. Object is an instance of a class. It is a real entity created from class definition and exists in the memory. So key characteristics of your, yeah, the key characteristics of your objects are, it is created from the class, so it's a concretization of the blueprint. Then it has a state, the value of its properties define its state. It also have the behavior, it can perform operations via methods. So if you look at creating objects in Java, we have got car. See, this is how you actually create an object. So I'll explain you the difference first of class and instance, and then let's proceed on that. Object and instance. Object is a reference of a class. Yeah, object is a reference of a class. So an object supports only those things which are described inside the class. Nothing less, nothing more. So it cannot have anything less, anything more than what is already described. Yeah. And object is also called as an instance, and how it is defined. See, the use of an object, how it looks like. How do we declare? See, I have written the declaration somewhere. Okay. See how it is declared. The declaration or the syntax for creating an object, it goes like this. You have the class name, and see, I'll use an inverted triangle to show a space. Okay. Then there will be a space, and then you specify the object name. So if I compare, yeah, if I compare, consider class pen. Public void open cap. Some piece of code. Public void close cap. Some piece of code. Public void right. Some piece of code. Now, if you look at this class and consider this class was written in both in Java and in C++. Yeah, consider this class was written in C++. So it is basically what pen.cpp, and the same class was written in Java. Yeah, and if I do one thing here, pen p semicolon. This is how we declare. We do the same in Java and we also do the same in C++, right? If I do p dot write, and in Java if I do p dot write, you know what will happen here? You know what will happen in both the situation? What will happen in C++? What do you think so will happen in C++? Yeah, write method will be called and it will give you the output. Let's say the write of pen. You know what will happen in Java? You know what will happen in Java? In Java, this will not get called. The reason is when the object is declared in Java, it points to something what we call as null. Yeah. See what happens in C++. The moment you do pen p semicolon, in the memory allocation, this p is allocated some memory. Yeah, this p is allocated with some memory, where it will have its open cap, close cap, write function. On other hand, the moment you declare a variable in Java, what happens here? The moment you point it to pen p semicolon, you know what happens here? The object p points to null. Null means no value at all. Okay, null means no value at all. So if this point, if you're trying to make a call, it will give you something what we call as null pointer exception. Let us see that null pointer exception in action. So consider I create pen.java. I write class pen and then I say public void open cap then I say public void close cap, and then if I say public void write, okay, then consider I want to write the main method, which is not something I should be doing here, but let's say I do that. I write a main method inside this, but here while writing the object, what I do, I say pen p semicolon, and then I say p dot write. See, the moment I do p dot write, and if I start my terminal, you know how to compile and run the Java file now, right? You all have seen how do we write and compile a Java file. So I say Java C pen.java, which will generate a dot class file for me. Now see, the moment I do that, it says variable p might not have been initialized. So this is an error I was expecting. And this is the exact error which is something we need to resolve now. So here, what happens is when you declare an object, it points to null. Yeah, it points to null. So I don't no longer want it to be null. So I have to do what? This is an object. So I'll have to do what? I will have to say P is equal to new pen. So the syntax is what? See, class name is your object. Class name, this is how you declare an object. But to make it operational, we have to say object is equal to, we use the new keyword, space, and then we use the constructor. And constructor is nothing but the name of your class as a function. So here, this is your syntax for, this is your syntax for writing the object. And now what we can do is, we have got pen P is equal to new pen. Now this become operational. So the moment I do this, what happens in my memory allocation? This is no longer null, and now it start pointing to a memory allocation. Now it start pointing to the memory allocation, and now it is operational. So if I go back in my code, and if I simply just say pen P, and now I say P is equal to new pen, see, at this time this was an object, and at this point we just created an instance. And remember one thing, objects are not operational instance is operational. So you can call the functions, do the things with instance, but not with the object. Are we clear on this? Can I get a quick thumbs up for this? Would you like to give this a try? Yeah, I will post this in the chat box. Yeah, I have written this code in the chat box. Can we try this out quickly? Okay. So now you have the code, and you understand now how to execute this, right? How to write and how to execute. So you will say Java C space pen.java, and then now you'll say Java space pen. Now it will say pen is writing. Okay, is this done? Okay, so now the next part. Yeah. This is how we create an object, and this is a class, this is an object, and this instantiates an object. Yeah. Instance is an actual occurrence of an object in the memory. When the class is instantiated using the new keyword, the memory is allocated and the reference to the object is created. Object is what? It's a concept of an entity, and instance is what? A real existing object in the memory. Object is defined using a class. Constructor is defined using, like, instance is created using new keyword. It can refer to multiple instances, but every instance is a unique entity here. Yeah. So this is what we have in our object instantiated. Plus we saw the null pointer exception, that if you do not instantiate an object and do something, it will try to update your value up here. Yeah. So okay, so this is the concept of objects and class. Yeah. And I would just quickly like to check your, where is your okay, this is your sem4 syllabus. Let us have a look at it. What are the things we have, and what are the things we are going to cover up here? Okay. Okay, so we have started with this part first. Will be we are done with the naming rules, class, objects. So okay, do you want me to conduct a session on loops? This is something I ask my people all the time. Are you comfortable with the loops and other things, or do you want me to cover that? I don't have any problem covering it. I can help you do this implementation. But are you comfortable with loops? How is it? If you want me to cover it, just put up a thumbs up in Google Meet. If else, ternary operator, nesting operator, and so on. Okay, no problem. We'll cover it. Even if one of you require it, I will. It's something I will cover it. No worries. Will it do for you if you listen to this one, that I will create a quick 20 minutes video for this, and as a prerequisite for this unit, if you can just watch that video and come to the session, is that okay? If you watch that video and come to the session, will that be fine for you? Because that way, this is very basics, and you should be able to then understand. Yeah. So next is, see, we have started with, I've started with rules, conventions. So the unit 1 and unit 3 will get covered in next 2 3 sessions. Okay. Then if you look at wrapper classes, it is wrapper classes and arrays. That is another session. So, and then we have got exception handling and interfaces, and then we have got threads. So these all topics, obviously the further topics will take time, but this internal topics, this is something I would like you to will I will design, and I'll show you how we are going to work upon this. So if you look at your practical 1 and 2, okay, so these are something which are very basic. So I'll do what, I will share, yeah, I will share that video I spoke about, where I will talk about the loops and other things. I will share the details, and I will add that details, and then can I expect you to complete these 2 practicals once we are back? Yeah, these practicals are also something I told you I have already completed for you on your, if you look at my session, where is that YCMOU, the playlist for second year? See, yeah. So this first video, see, basically it covers all your required things. I will copy this and I will give it to you here. And the second is loop based. So all the practicals are already done, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's it. And just give me 1 second before we go ahead. Okay, then I have taken the attendance. I'll send it to Arun sir. Thank you so much. And you have the code screens and everything. And we will meet. Mostly, I'll try to keep a session tomorrow. Yeah, if you do not have a college session, I might keep a session tomorrow, and then we'll start with methods and constructors. And four things we'll cover in next session is methods, constructors, what are the variables, local variable and instance variable, and that is what we'll do. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, and we'll let you know when the next session is.